Okay. Ankin Ma'at. I want to welcome you all to Kemetic Ascension for January 3rd, 2020. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so honored that you have chosen to spend your Divine Sunday with us. You know that as we come to you during this difficult time, this time when we have been forced to stay away from each other, to socially distance, we always must ask where you are. We want to know that our voices, that our images, that our joint worship, that our prayer is reaching the corners of the globe. So I ask for you, as we welcome you to Kemetic Ascension, to let us know where you are. Tell us where you are. Tell us how long you have been part of Kemetic Ascension. Please, as you filter in, greet those people who are in areas near you. I'd like to hear our initiates, the Hemsenu and Rakas Hashen, to announce themselves. I'd like to see the members of the Wenwet speak to you. Those are the members of the priesthood. Please speak to those people who gather Kemetic Ascension. We are once again joining together to speak the names of our ancestors and to put up praise to the divine forces we call the Neteru. So please, as we gather, let us know where you are and let us know how long you have been partaking in Kemetic Ascension, brought to you by the Shrine of Ma'at. And I should say that as you are coming in, we would also love to hear, we would also absolutely be honored to hear that you are sharing this video with your contacts. One of the things that we are attempting to do is we are trying to reach a broader audience, because we know that that group of Africans who hear the call of their ancient African foreparents is larger than we know. I'm sure that there are people that you know, people that you have relationships with, who are also on a similar journey. Are they here? Have they joined us for Kemetic Ascension? Please go ahead while you are watching us on Facebook, while you're watching us on YouTube, or to your contacts. So, have anyone who has described where they are and how long they've been part of Kemetic Ascension?
We have Almond Beach, Florida.
Almond Beach?
Almond, O-M-R-N-D. I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, that's probably Orlando? O-M?
O-M-R-N-D.
Oh, maybe I don't know where that is.
Okay, we have our Rock Ascension Cheryl.
Ah,
from the DMV.
Sinette, Cheryl Lee, it's always wonderful to have you amongst us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who else is out there?
Rock Ascension Tahuti Phoenix.
Tahuti forever in Phoenix. Go ahead, dear brother.
2017.
And say again?
Since 2017.
You know, it's almost unfair for him to say 2017, because it's 3 years is a long time, right? Going on 4 years. But keep in mind, traveled here to be with us in person far away as Arizona. I'm telling you, Sentilti forever, we will be working our way to you.
Let's see, we have Divine Knowledge from Phoenix.
Oh, another Phoenix.
Tracy.
Well, Tahuti forever, Son William, do you know Divine Knowledge? Did you say the name was?
Yeah. Tracy, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Wonderful. Tracy.
This is Tracy.
Okay.
Virgo Venom.
There are several Virgo Venom. I've seen that name before too. We have a lot of folks who are Venom. I've seen that name before.
Jehuti Ma'atra from Canada.
Jehuti Ma'atra up there in Ontario. One strong in 2020.
Jason Holmes is in the house.
Jason Holmes, another name that we have heard many times. Seems like a lot of our regulars are on, huh?
Yes. Senate Anna Rodriguez.
Ah, Sanette Anna. It is wonderful to hear that you are there, and blessings to you and your family, particularly your mom. Let me go ahead and also remind those of you who are coming in and have no idea what we are doing. We are asking where you are and how long you have been partaking in. You have been a member of this Kemetic Ascension experience. So please let us know where you are and how long you've been with us.
Facebook has dropped.
Yeah?
It's in and out. Facebook is in and out. So we have Jehuti Mess, OG, since before day one.
Ankit Ma'at said Jehuti Mess.
Houston, Texas.
He's been with us forever.
Nyack, New York.
Houston, Texas. Nyack, New York.
Jason's from Nebraska. He said since Kemetic Legacy today.
Ooh.
Flint, Michigan. We have Tulsa, Oklahoma.
He took it back. He said Kemetic Legacy today.
Yes.
Flint, Michigan, Oklahoma.
If a Fanta is in the house.
Ah, Fanta Trace.
From Kemetic Legacy today.
Wonderful.
There's Annette Laurie in the house.
Go ahead. I think Sanette Laurie is out of the Atlanta area.
Let's see. We have Canton, Ohio. Tacoma, Washington. There's someone who's new to the experience, Estrella Simpkins.
Ma'at and Kemetic Ascension community that you will continue to partake in.
Dallas, Texas. Boston.
That's the second Texas one. I think the other one was Houston, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to Texas. Boston.
Someone says, I was watching the last Kemetic Ascension, not live, but was streaming George and the Dragon at TV in London.
George and the Dragon. We talked about George and the Dragon. Anika's like, what is he talking about? We talked about George, St. George.
Okay.
Ankit Ma'at to London. Who was that in London?
Seoul.
Seoul. Are they connected to Black Eyes TV 7?
We have Connecticut. Jamaica, Houston.
Wonderful. Jamaica via Houston. I'm assuming they mean Jamaica in the Caribbean.
Another Dallas, Texas, Mobile, Alabama, Orange Park, Florida, Libya. I recognize Obabini.
Wow, Libya. We've had people from Libya before?
Obabini's been with us before.
Oh, welcome. Reaching the North Motherland.
Columbus, Ohio. There's Lee McCoy in the house. Good to see you, Lee.
Lee McCoy, what's up? Someone that's been around quite a bit more recently.
Let's see.
Is Facebook still?
Douglasville, GA. We're fine.
Okay, good.
Atlanta. So
Wonderful, wonderful. Can I say something to you? Folks, it's so interesting to us because now that we are streaming on YouTube, one of the things that happens is we'll get an alert. Someone is telling us where they are hours after our session is over. Continue to do that because you should know that as you are able to gather, as you are able to catalog, as you are able to identify those people who are near you, you might find that you aren't the only strange African near you. Because I know that's what it's like. I know that's what my experience has been. I know that that is what my queen's experience has been. When you are that person who is connected to extremely lonely. Extremely lonely. It is really helpful for you to know who the other people along this journey with you are because of each other. And so we are hoping that we will be able to place together those individuals in certain areas. And you have probably heard me say, if you have been a recent participant in Kemetic Ascension, from Harlem, New York, and trying to place seeds in certain places around the country and eventually around the world, so that the story of Ma'at, so that the focus on divine balance is something that comes back more powerfully into our modern day. So please let us know where you are. That would be amazing. And of course, as we begin, I would also love for you to continue to share this video with people in your network. And if you are on Facebook, please don't forget to hit the star, because the star will allow us to get some sort of monetization for this video. And I also hope that if you're on YouTube, you are giving this video a thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up on YouTube, star it on Facebook, make sure that people are able to find it. We are one 2021.
So Lee McCoy sends his love.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Angela Yvonne, for sending us. We appreciate you.
Amazing.
Salem, North Carolina in the house, and Fidel, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Sorry, you said West Palm Beach, Florida, and you said where?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Not a place I've been to, but certainly a place that I have heard of. It is wonderful to hear that you are out there in North Carolina.
Pretty Party Things sent us 150 stars. Thank you. There's a
Wonderful.
question. YouTube.
So they can send more than one star?
Yes. It can
Oh, I
send
didn't know
multiple
that.
Stars. So the streaming is a little challenging on Facebook. People are asking if we're on YouTube. We're also on YouTube at the Shrine of Ma'at. So if you have difficulty with Facebook, we are also on YouTube under the Shrine of Ma'at.
Please join us.
Today's session is called Khepera and the Power of New Beginnings. So you can also join us on YouTube if you're having some challenges. On Facebook, I see we have someone from Saluda, South Carolina. Also assert Monique. Stars, we really
thank you for the stars. Thank you for the stars. Thank you for the stars. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the thumbs up or the likes. Thank you so much for being. By the way, I should let you know that we have so many people who are sort of the concentric circles of the Shrine of Ma'at. And we're trying to describe those individuals who have been part of Kemetic Ascension, people who are part of our walk in person that are not initiates yet. And we're coming up with action for those people. Ma'at. We will be talking to you shortly about what that status means. And of course, if you are Henu and Ma'at, can you see the words are even new in my mouth? You'll also note that we are welcoming you to initiation. Initiation is going to begin next month. We are receiving applications. Please continue to send us applications if you're interested in becoming a full member, a full family member of the Shrine of Ma'at. So many of you have been Kemetic Ascension for a long time, and we want you to be closer to us. That is how we will be able to do more in the Shrine of Ma'at. We're hoping that you will continue to do that. Go to our website at shrineofmaat.org, shrineofmaat.org, and you will see the application. Once you submit the application, you will be interviewed. By the way, we're hoping that when you do that, you also, that's too high, isn't it? You also decide that you are not going to, that you are going to not only going to submit an application, but in addition to that, you are also going to refrain from paying yet. Once you go ahead and set up payment, it'll start it automatically. And we want to give us some time to go through your application. We want to give us some time for us to be able to interview you and to let you know that you have been selected to be part of the family. We want to make sure that this is the right place for you and you are the right person for us, because we are looking to grow. So we cannot wait to see that as soon as you can. Go to our website, shrineofma'at.org, and submit an application if you want to be a full member.
Thank you so much, Natashan, for sending us 150. It looks like you sent multiple. Thank you to Khepera L also for sending us 150 stars. We have another Rock House, Sinette Adrian.
Sinette Adrian is always there, always there, now out of Philly.
We had a question about
Welcome,
our Cash App. Yes, we are on Cash App. We're at Shrine of Ma'at on Cash App. So if you'd like to make donations there,
just go to $ Shrine of Ma'at and you will see us.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. Let's see. And we have some more people coming in. South Africa is in the house.
South. The motherland today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Los Angeles.
LA is in the house.
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida.
London, UK.
Wonderful.
Yes, so we are reaching Douglasville, Georgia.
I think we've had a few Georgia folks today. Welcome, Douglasville, Georgia.
So we are still streaming.
So,
I know it's challenging on Facebook. It's a little fuzzy, not sure what's going on. YouTube seems to skip as well, so I don't know if it's a lot of resources.
Oh boy. Let's hope that it's smoothly as we possibly can. Let me go ahead and once again welcome you and let you know as we begin the formal session of Kemetic Ascension, you should know that we way. It is the way, it is the manner that was brought into its current configuration by our elder, Baba Heru Ankra Samad Sepata, who we send divine myrrh, divine love. This elder has been practicing tradition longer or as long as anyone. His commitment to the legacy is exactly how the Shrine and other groupings of individuals who practice Kemetic spirituality exist. And so we want to say dwa 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 inter. Thank you to the divine for him. We will do what we call the opening of the way. So could you join us? And you should know that as we do the opening of the way, this ritual is that ritual that we hope you do when you're going to do something important. You should stand in the position of adoration. You're going to stand with your left foot striding slightly forward, and you're going to have both palms exposed out in front of you. This is one of the ways that you will be able to, the left hand will be further forward and a little bit up, give, and the right hand will be further back and perhaps a little bit lower. So you're going to be giving and receiving divine energy, creating a sacred circuit that will allow you to reach us wherever we are in the world. We also reach to you. So, we are going to begin by taking a breath. Try to breathe in the lower part of your abdomen and chant the sound of the everlasting life, Ankh. And then you'll see us do this sacred ritual, which will move from each of the cardinal points. Let us begin. Anetrakin behet. Kapi.
Anetra Kapi.
New copy.
New Kapi.
Twelve enter. Turn to the right.
Anetrach serket.
Anetrach serket.
Nuke serket.
Nuke serket. Anetrach keb senuf.
Anetrach kepsenuf.
Nuke keb senuf.
Nuke kepsenuf.
Twelve enter.
12 winter. Anetrach as.
Anetrach ast.
Nuke as.
Nuke ast. Anetrach amset.
Anetrach
Nuke amset.
set.
12.
Anetrach neat.
Anetrach neat.
Nuke neat.
Nuke neat. Anetrach dwam. Nuke dwamuta.
Nuke dwamuta.
12 enter.
12 winter. Anetrach newt.
Anetrach newt.
Nuke newt.
Nuke newt. Anetrach gab.
Anetrach gev.
Nuke gab.
Nuke geb.
12 winter.
12 winter. Shoe.
Shoe. Shoe. Nuke shoe.
And then tough.
Tef newt.
Tough
Tef
newt.
newt. Tef newt. Tef newt. 12 winter. Anetrach paut in teru. Nuke paut in teru. Anetrach paut. Imbu in teru. Nuke imbu in teru. 12 winter. It is wonderful that you joined way with us. We are hoping that you don't see that as theater. You ain't watching TV. You might be watching us on your TV, but you're not watching TV. This is participatory. Sacred ritual that reminds us just how powerful you are. You should recognize that each of the names we call represent divine entities that are connected to each of the cardinal points. And in addition to that, it also reminds us that you are the cardinal point. What does that mean? It means that all of you, including each of the organs that are represented by those entities, are part of the divine. That you, I'm going to say this in a bit of a crass way, you are a God. It means that you are a vessel of divine energy, and that no portion, or no cell, no atom of you is without divinity. This means that you have all of the powers of the divine, but they need to be cultivated. Right now, we are like babies with chainsaws. Extremely powerful, but because of our ignorance, we are dangerous to others and dangerous to ourselves. We must cultivate our divine intellect. We must cultivate our divine selves in order to come into this powerful divine right that we have been given. And so the opening of the way is that which reminds you just how powerful you are. When you do the opening of the way, you will recognize that challenges, none of those trials and tribulations, none of those none of the cracks in the road, none of the tacks on the stairs, none of the things that might seek to deter you are above you, that in fact you are so powerful that you can surmount all of it. Do the opening of the way so you can reacquaint yourself with your fundamental divinity. We always say that you should do the opening of the way before you do anything important. And clearly, your day is important. Instead of running out of your house, cramming some fast food in your pie hole, and then rushing on the bus or on the train, or jumping in your car and running to work, why don't you stop and recognize how powerful you are? Connect yourself to the divine before you do those things, so you recognize that none of the things that can seek to deter you are above you, that you have all of creation in your capable hands. So please do the opening of the way.
So we have some more people who've joined us. We have Botswana.
Oh, I don't think we've heard Botswana before. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Johannesburg, South Africa.
Wonderful. Joburg. It's great to hear that South Africa.
Newport News, Virginia.
Newport News.
Wait, that's the one I recognize.
Yeah?
The screen is scrolling so fast, I'm missing out on some people. Oh, Adrian, still waiting for souls.
No, I saw your post. I still have not. Perhaps that'll be something I'll be able to get today.
Let's see.
Are there more?
Yes, I'm trying to. This is moving fast. Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon, right up, right a little way from here. Let's throw from here.
Dominican Republic.
The DR in the house. Who's in the DR? Wow.
Henry
Wonderful.
Maxwell.
Wonderful to see you.
New Jersey's in the house.
New Jersey.
And Momoloki Ponachego. Not sure what that is.
That's a place? I thought that was a name.
Well, the person's name is Ndukazile Tietso.
Sounds like a South African name, right?
So maybe that's the location within. So another South African in the house.
Wow, South Africa is up in the house today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
More Houston.
Texas is up in there.
So that Adrian laughing along with me about your statement about pie hole.
Listen, I had to say something mundane, right? Because that's what we do. We don't actually is. We just cramming it in and maybe you choke. Divine action. And so when we live lives that are so mundane, when you're cramming stuff in your pie hole, what you're doing is you're not recognizing who you are, what you are capable of, and what kind of divine experience you are having. And so I'm hoping that you will begin your day at the very least with the opening of the way, so that you are able to reconnect yourself to this fundamental reality.
We have Buffalo in the house.
New York.
Staten Island, Berkeley, California.
Woo, SI, Shaolin in the house,
Virginia
Berkeley in the house.
Beach, North Carolina.
Go ahead.
More Georgia, more Columbus, Ohio.
Wonderful.
And Twau, thank you, Onjai, for your contribution. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Anjai has been part of this community hot and heavy. Let me say to you, imagine if we did the opening away at the same time all around the world. What would happen? Imagine if we called the names of our ancestors to come back into our presence to assist us with our work. What would happen, African, if we did that? Isn't this fundamentally what we must do? We must invite those glorious golden beings who have actually did the wondrous work on the physical plane and are now moving on to the realm to come back, to be with us, to assist us. I'll never forget being on the train one day with someone who noticed my SA, who noticed my protective amulets, and my Ankh, and we had this conversation. And finally, after the conversation, which I thought was very well, and finally I said, "Brother, why do you look so sad?" And you know what he said? He said, "I'm thinking about our African greatness, how amazing we were, and I'm just wondering, what happened to us? With all of the things in the condition we are in. If we are in fact the of the universe, if we are in fact those individuals that gave civilization to the world, how did we get to be so low?" And I must admit, I struggled for an answer, an intelligible answer. And finally, as I sat there, I said, well, imagine with all the things that we've done, with all of those incredible Africans who have preceded us, Imagine that we have not called their names. We have not asked them to return to the struggle with us, to be here with us. We are not feeding them. Perhaps that's the reason why we catch in hell, because we are not calling the names of those glorious, wondrous, golden souls who have done the work before us. And so it reminds us that we must continue to do the work for them to be in our stead. Imagine if we called the names of the ancestors together all over the world. What would in fact happen in the hood if the ancestors returned? What would happen? What would happen if you bumped into Marcus Garvey? You know we live on the street where Marcus Garvey lived. His house is literally just a few doors from ours. What would happen if an illustrious African like Marcus Garvey was still walking these streets? What if all of those illustrious Africans, both ancient and more recent, were once again in our midst, unencumbered by physical limitations? What would happen if they had returned? Would they not buoy us and assist us in the work that we must do in this current moment? We must call their names. Let us call their names from every corner, every hamlet, every village, every city on the planet, because we know that's where Africans are. Call their names and we will be able to do work together.
So we have a question.
Yes, please.
Other than voice offerings, do you ever give offerings of fruit, vegetables, or life force of animals?
Of animals? Well, we certainly, when we do altar work, we put things that are living on our altar. That could be something as simple as a plant, but it could also be fruits and vegetables, yes. We do not engage in animal sacrifice. That is something that, as far as I know, as far as my reading, was rarer in the Kemetic tradition. And so what we do is we primarily focus on fruits and vegetables. We do not generally do animal offerings in the current day. It was rare in the ancient world and probably even rarer now. Other questions, other comments? Are we good?
Yes.
At this point in Kemetic Ascension, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, Twahu, thank you to Joe Berry for sending us 150 stars.
And I hope I answered your question. I hope I answered your question. Let me say that at this point of Kemetic Ascension, we generally engage in what we call Hesi. We engage in what we call Hesi. And I'm going to ask, what is Hesi? Now, usually we have people in the house. But that during the pandemic and the continuing pandemic of 2021, we have not been able to have people in-house. So I'm hoping you are typing, what is Hesi? Go ahead and tell us what your understanding of Hesi, which is usually spelled H-E-S-Y or sometimes H-E-S-I in the English language. What is Hesi? Hesi is essentially words of power set to some sort of rhythmic cadence. There's another word for words of power, overlap. Sometimes you'll hear the term hekau, which is like words of power. Unfortunately, the Western people have called them spells, which is unfortunate because they always want to make our tradition seem unusual, seem spooky, and they do all sorts of things in their tradition, and you're supposed to have reverence for them. Have the nerve, the unmitigated gall to behave like an African who recognizes ancestral energy, recognizes the Neteru, recognizes the divine forces. Now you must be spooky or strange. But they up in the church, taking wafers and wine, and literally in their tradition, transforming it into blood and into flesh. No one calls them cannibals. No one says that the dude of and I'm not suggesting that you disrespect them either. What I am saying is, why should we have respect and reverence for that? And then when we come to the African traditions, we should render them, view them, understand them as First of all, that is racist and xenophobic and ethnocentric, but in addition to that, those other the Westerners are practicing come from your African traditions. So they have the nerve to steal from them and ill of them. Almost like they're erasing the original so they can take credit. How dare they do that? I know that I am speaking to those people who are in the family. I know that you understand and recognize the fundamental hypocrisy of that. So we will recognize our African traditions and do it proudly. So let us engage in what we call HESI. Today, because we're going to talk about new beginnings, as you probably see in the title, we figured we would do a rendition of the HESI that recognizing the divine force of what some of us may call the sun as it operates in our universe. It is the Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra chant. Khepera, Amen-Ra, Aten-Ra. That's usually how it goes, but we're adding a little bit here. And I've taken license today, family, to speak words in English as well. Because I believe that you should also feel comfortable utilizing whatever language you speak to recognize the divine. That doesn't mean that we are moving away from the Kemetic language, the Ntu-Nter or the Medu-Neter, but it does mean that we are going to be including some English in here as well, so that we are able to reach a larger audience, so that we are able to recognize more easily, more readily what we are saying. That is what we will be doing. So here's the phrase that we're going to, the two phrases. May you rise like the sun that warms your face. And then the second one will be, oh ancestors, us your grace. Those are the phrases that we will add. So we're going to use our Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. We're going to say that 4 times. Then we're going to say the first phrase. Then we're going to do our Khepera, Amen-Ra, Aten-Ra 4 times. And then we're going to say the second one. Does that make sense? I hope that you are with us. I hope that you feel comfortable utilizing these HESI in your life as well. Because that is how you will be able to galvanize divine energy. Perhaps you can use it while you're driving in the car, while you're washing the dishes, while you're walking to wherever you're going. Hopefully these HESI will remain as a marker on your soul. So, let us begin. Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. May you rise like the sun that warms your face. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra. Oh, ancestors, grant us your divine grace. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. 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 May you rise like the sun that warms your face.
Amen Ra. Khepera. Aten Ra. Amen Ra. Khepera. Aten Ra. Amen Ra. Khepera. Aten Ra. Khepera. Aten Ra. Amen Ra.
Khepera.
Amen Ra. Khepera. Aten Ra. Amen. Khepera. Aten Ra. Amen Ra.
I hope that you are able to utilize some of what we are giving you here. I hope that you are able to bring some of them into your practice so that you are able to continue to recognize the divine all around us and to recognize the fundamental energies that resonate in our mind. In this for us talking about Khepera, Khepera being the symbol of the divine power that begins with the rising of the sun. It's the new sun. It's a symbol of renewal, rebirth. In some ways, we say that Khepera is the self-created. And then we have Aten Ra, which is the power of the sun in its height. The power of the sun in its height in the sky. It is the strongest manifestation of the sun. Jabari actually has Aten Ra, his Kemetic name, Jenen Ma'at Aten Ra. And that is because in my consultation, in my work with our elder, he suggested that be in my name. More about that later. We're not going to spend enough time on me. A lot of time on me. That's also one of the reasons why that is there, because it recognizes the sun revealed in full force. And then finally we say Amen Ra. Now you know that Amen Ra could also be rendered Amun Ra. One reason Amen Ra is because be bodacious, right? You should know that Western scholars sometimes will add the name Aten Ra when they're talking about a name. So when we're talking about that African ancestor known as King Tut sometimes, we might abbreviate his name, they'll say that his name is Tutankhamen. But then when they render the word Amen by itself, they'll say Amun. You might wonder why, and that's because they were very cautious not to offend those practitioners of the Christian and Islamic tradition. They were afraid that they were going to offend them by absolutely recognizing that term is older than those traditions. In fact, they got them from the tradition that comes out of the soil, which flows down into the valley that sometimes today we misnomer the Nile Valley. It comes out of the soil. It is a Kemetic, Cushitic term. And so they say Amun instead of Amen. That simple. That simple. It's even Budge in one of his works that says that Christians might be offended by seeing that term is older than Christianity. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we say Amen, because we want them to know that that is our phrase, that recognizes the sun that has completed its work. The sun that has completed its work. In fact, sometimes Amen or Amun has been rendered one, the hidden one. And so when you recognize the stages of the way that we view the sun, you will see something powerful occur. I want us to recognize that as practitioners of the tradition, we should recognize that the way in which our Kemetic ancestors described the sun still exists in our language today. When you see a shaft of light coming from the sun and warming your face, what do we call that? We call it a ray of light. When they say ray, it is an echo of the name of the divine entity that is represented by the sun, Re or Ra. So you can't even talk about a beautifully sunny day without speaking or recognizing the worldview of your ancient African ancestors. No one on the planet can. Isn't that amazing? Yet they would like to say that these traditions are fetishistic, that these traditions are primitive. And so we must remind people that we know and we have not been led astray. We have not been confused. So, today I would like to actually talk about something that probably is in your thinking today. This is the first Sunday in the secular year of 2021. I say secular year because it's the year that the Westerners have spoken. And to think of this year as something on the order of 5321. If we look at it that way, 5221, right? 51?
Basically 3200.
Right. There are individuals to argue that the unification of Kemet occurred at around 3200 BCE. So if you add 3200 to 2021, you would get something on the order of 5221. So perhaps this could be, in our understanding, the year 5221. I think that we should sin. That is important. And we're not the only ones that try to do that. By the way, I'll tell you, if you go, like I do sometimes, if you end up visiting a hospital that is run by someone in the Jewish tradition, that is created, that was in the Jewish order, you look at their cornerstone, you're going to see two dates. Who's done this before? Tell me, what are the two dates that you're going to see? You're going to see the Western year that building was established or built, but you're also going to see the ancient year that they are also speaking, which attempts to connect them to the story of the ancient Hebrew. That's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to see. I want people who are familiar with this to tap the one on your keyboard. Mash that one. Hit that one if you've seen it before. And if you have seen it before, tell us which hospital you've seen it in. When you go to institutions like that, that is what you're going to see. You maybe go to a Jewish university run by people who are Jewish. I know in New York, maybe in Florida, there are large Jewish populations. But when you do that, you have those two dates on the corners. What date, other than the Western date that building was established, are you going to see? Here's your first question of the day. What is the date, the older date that you're going to see? And what are they trying to connect themselves to? So that as I say 51, you should recognize that I am doing that which is rightfully by a person who recognizes their African origin. I do not have to draw my origin directly to the Western narrative. They are the youngest people on the planet. What is the first date that you will see? Has anyone answered that question?
No, but I've seen people say that they've seen it Maimonides.
Yes, you have seen it Maimonides.
Shirael.
Yes, you have seen it Maimonides. What's the date? What is the date? And why? I don't want you to just give me the number. Why that date? What are people in the Jewish / Hebrew tradition trying to tie themselves back to? If you can answer this. Wait a minute, Jabari. You're going to give me not homework, but ascension work while I'm in session? That's right. That's right. Our tradition is about more than belief, more than faith. It's about knowing. As you put together the information, you will be able to intuit, better intuit, the knowledge that you will see occurring on the left side will join the knowledge that you actually will feel on the right side, and now you will be able to connect to this tradition in a more powerful manner. Any answers? Did I stump y'all today? Okay, we'll keep moving. We'll keep moving, and we'll see what answers you have. By the way, I know that some of y'all Googling it right now. Is it Googling it? No. Let little Google work. Come with it. And by the way, when you actually go to one of these institutions, picture of the cornerstone and send it. Post it to our Facebook page, send it to us via email. Let us know what you find so that you are able to understand the reality of the modern world we live in. So, as we look at 2021, I to say we should ignore the secular year. That doesn't make sense. I want us to live in a world that does not exist in the world with the rest of the people that we are inhabiting it with. So the secular world does have an effect on us, does it not? I mean, you're going to be writing it on your checks, writing it on your memos, your assignments, writing it on everything. Everything. The secular year is not unimportant to us. And there's usually a new energy that occurs when the secular year flips to its next year. And as difficult and as challenging as 2021 has been, I know that many of y'all been waiting for 2021 urgently. You're ready to turn the calendar on 2020, ready to come into 2021, which we hope will be a better year. A year where we will not see as many individuals making their transition and dying. We're hoping that that will occur. And so I want you to live into that feeling of the newness of this period. You should feel it naturally. Well, first off, we just finished celebrating the winter solstice. We just finished celebrating. And you know that we did our vanquishing a pep ritual, where we absolutely looked at those things that we needed to discard as we were going into the point where the sun dies and is reborn after 3 days. That story is told by the vanquishing of a pep. By the way, let me say this is a good place to insert this here. If you look at our last Kemetic Ascension, by the way, you'll find it on YouTube, you'll find it on Facebook, you'll know that we talked about the story of St. George, a very important story in the Christian tradition, and we actually talked about it as an African origin. Well, I was reading, sometimes I can do additional work, and right, it's not something that I never read, it's something that I haven't read in a long time. And in the story of St. George conquering the dragon, one of the cities that they said that it must have happened in was a city they called Syene. Syene. And when I read it this time, I said, wait a minute. Of course they are telling us this is an ancient African story. What is the name of the city that we called in that story Syene today? And where is it? There's the second question. I'm going to answer that one right off. Syene used to be known by the ancient name Suenet, but today it is known as Aswan. It is the city in the southern area of modern Kemet where the Nubians live. Isn't that interesting? When you look at these farcical the depictions of St. George, first of all, St. George is a Tomboy, he's a European, and the princess that's involved in the story is a European, and the king that's involved is a European, and the people in the town that he goes to save is a European, and you telling me they're trying to tell us that that's in Syene? They're hoping you don't know where Syene is. Anika and I have had the honor of being in Syene over a dozen times. And I'm going to tell you that when we travel to modern day Egypt, often most of the people you see in modern day Egypt are what you would consider Arabic people, people that came into Egypt much more recently. But when you get to Aswan, that's when you see the Nubians. That's when you see somebody that look like your uncle in Bed-Stuy, in Harlem, in Detroit, in Chicago, in Houston, walking down the street with a long galabia on. You're like, that looked like my uncle. Anika was so captured by this once that here we are eating food for breakfast. I turn around and my wife has disappeared. I'm like, where did she go? She brings back one of the cooks, one of the chefs. He looks exactly like my cousin. Exactly like my cousin. I've showed my cousin the picture. He says, yeah, that do look like me. I mean, that looks exactly like my cousin, a Nubian. A Nubian. So this is a place where, in the ancient world and in the modern world, you ain't gonna see no Europeans. Not unless they're visiting. How did they try to pull the wool over our eyes and tell us that the story of St. George is a Christian story when they even tell you it doesn't even occur in a place where they ain't nary a European? That's how they have stolen these stories from us. Syene is Aswan. So, in this period where we are looking at the winter solstice, where we focus on the battle against the Pep, where we are looking at dispensing with those things that seek not to serve us in order to connect ourselves to things that do serve us, you should already be in a point where you are preparing to do something new. Shouldn't you? And you should already have been thinking about that before January 1st, when everybody else in the world is saying, what's your New Year's resolution? You should be making resolutions on how you're going to banish a pep in your life. That's what you should have done. I'm not speaking ill of resolutions. I actually support anyone who would like to actually move forward and do amazing things, to manifest things in their life. That's a positive thing. Even though I recognize the more ancient African traditions, I salute those of you who are trying to do new things. I'd like you to connect it to a pep. Take a look at Heru on this steed being depicted as a Roman soldier killing what might be a crocodile or an alligator. This is also the beginning of a pep. This image comes before we hear St. George. It's still in the Coptic era, but this is before we hear the story of St. George and the dragon. Clearly you can see the origins of it. Can you see that that's Heru there? Can you see that's Heru? Now, of course, the Romans would have called him Horus, which is where they get the name for hero, or where they get the name for hour from. Because remember, Heru is a deity connected to the sun. And the sun is how we count the hours, right? So that's why his name is connected to the word for hour. So many of the terms in the English language come directly from our ancient African traditions. In fact, I have family members in the Caribbean and in South America who should have the name Horus. I told one of my more distant cousins that his name was connected to the story of ancient Africa of Heru. He said, oh no, mine is spelled H-R-R-A-C-E. And I just looked at him and laughed. I said, well, you know, Heru wasn't spelled in English letters either. When we translate it into English, we have to give it English letters. Somebody had to choose which letters your name was in and what name Horus was in. He said, oh, I never thought of it that way. I said, I know you didn't think of it that way. That's because you ain't know me first. So many of those names, even in the English language, have an ancient African origin. I remember it was John Henry Clark that told a student in my presence, whose name was Thomas, he said that his name Thomas came from Jehuti Mess. And it was so clear to me then that even the names that we have are references to the Kemetic ancestral energies. Thomas comes from Thotmes, which is Jehuti Mess. Yes, I know Jehuti Mess, the OG, the fourth, is in there. And he would recognize that that's where the name Thomas comes from. Very, very powerful when you think of it that way. That they have simply been drawing from this ancient African, this blackest of black wellspring of information. And you'll actually see in this image, you'll see some of the individuals that assist one in the afterlife to conquer Apep. Apep being depicted as the snake that is the opposite of light. He seeks to destroy light. And your job is to maintain the light, to guard the light. That is exactly what we must do as we celebrate the winter solstice. And hopefully in destroying Apep, you will be destroying those things inside of you that are preventing you from being a being that is just ebullient. A being that is imbued, a being that is absolutely represented by light. And so I am hoping, I think I dropped the page, I don't even know where it went. I am hoping that you see it this way and that you are able to recognize that this is the time for you to make that change. And in fact, each of the coils of Apep, usually you will see, here goes Heru defeating Apep with Ra in the boat. And take a look at each of the coils. They always show the coils. Can you see that there's a knife next to the coils? Can you see that? Because in the Kemetic tradition, you don't just kill the head, you have to actually defeat each of the coils. Well, sometimes you should see this description of the coils as the emanations of Apep. Apep, that thing that seeks to defeat the light, actually acts in your life in many, many ways. You have to recognize all the ways that Apep shows up in order to defeat Apep. How does Apep show up in your life? That's what you have to do. And as you do that, you should be focused on what new behaviors, what new thinking, what new practices, what new traditions, what new stuff you're gonna do in the period of winter solstice. And it's easy to think about this now because even the secular world is thinking about new stuff. There's nothing wrong with trying to do new things in your life. Here's an image of Apep in these coils. By the way, I think these coils even look like a symbol of. In fact, the reason why I like this image, as we see Heru facing and staring down Apep here, the reason why I like this one is because I want to recognize that my journey into being a golden one is something that will take continued work. That I have never completely arrived, but I must continue to do the work to vanquish Apep. And that's why I like how the coils here actually are not kind of like humps, but they're more in this image of this infinity sign. I must continue to battle Apep. That is powerful to me. I'll talk to you today a bit about Khepera. A bit about Khepera. Because as we think about new things, isn't this the best time to begin to think about, to talk about, to be about Khepera? Remember we started today with the Hesi Khepera, Amen Ra, Khepera, Aten Ra, Amen Ra. There was a reason. There was a method to our madness. Take a look at that. You see this wonderful brass paperweight? I think this is beautiful. It's one of those pieces that we brought back from Kemet with us. And they even put some glyphs on the back. This symbol is one of the most important symbols in Kemetic philosophy. In fact, here's question number 3. By the way, I ain't got no answers for none of the questions I've asked. What is going on? Are you with me? If you're with me, say Dwanter. Thank you to the divine. Thank you to the Netaru. Say Dwanter if you're with me. Come on now. And if you don't know how to type Dwanter, go ahead and mash a 7 on your keyboard. And then look at how everybody else is spelling it and type that too. Come on. I hope you're with me. I want to ask you, who does this actual piece of this piece of protective jewelry, I'll call it now, who does this belong to? Because while it is an image of the Khepera in the middle, you'll also see that it has the sun. It's carrying the sun. So this is actually not even Khepera. This is Khepera. But it actually is also a name. You are seeing a name. And it's a name, it's somebody's name. Whose is it? That's question number 3. Did I get an answer for number 1?
Well, you're getting 7s in Dwanter.
Jabari, you're supposed to be out there teaching. How are you asking me the questions? Because we are in dialogue. That's why I'm asking you questions. Well, you should know that you're seeing the sun, you're seeing the Khepera, and you're seeing the Neb bowl that it is standing on. And then do you see these lines, these 3 lines under the Khepera on the bowl? This is actually a name. The name is Neb Khepera. Notice the U, because of the lines, it means it's pluralized. Neb Khepera Ra. Neb Khepera Ra, which is one of the 5 divine names of that ancestor known as Tutankhamen. You are actually seeing a piece that belonged to him. This is more than just a Khepera. This is actually the way that one of his names is actually spoken. And that is pretty dope, if you ask me. It's pretty dope. Now, there's a real reason why this is important. There's a reason why this is magnificent. There's a reason why, if you go to modern day Kemet, if you go to any museum that has pieces from Kemet, you might see dozens, if not hundreds, of images of the Khepera. There is a reason. And that's because the symbol is connected to rebirth and renewal. It is connected to the fundamental power of creation. In fact, Khepera ancestors revealed, described, elucidated their tradition. It was not just about golden coffins and magnificent pyramids or Merkuti. It was also about a practical approach to divine balance. One of the ways that you actually connect yourself to your fundamental divinity, to being the best you, to absolutely hearing and responding to the call to higher consciousness, trying to do better, to be divine, to work on that individual that is you. And so this symbol is not just a symbol of the sun. It's not just a symbol of a sacred deity. It's a symbol that reminds us of what each of us must be doing. That's what this is. And I want you to know that this is powerful. Extremely powerful. Take a look at this image. First of all, who is this divine lady that is bent over, arched, that has the stars on her body and the sun moving through her? Who is this divine woman? What is her name? You should know I'm not getting any answers today, huh? Y'all can just let me do all the heavy lifting up here, huh? Y'all making me roll up my sleeves and do the work up here, huh? Huh?
You can tell when Stan Kliko's not on.
He has a lot of the answers. Jilty must have clicked off too, because he usually has a lot of the answers too. Been doing this work for a while. Known as Newt. She is the lady of the heavens. And as you see these orange reddish discs going through her body, that is the sun traveling through her body.
They're answering now.
They're answering now. There's a bit of a delay. So there is actually the sun moving through her body. And if you look closely, you will see that the sun moves towards her mouth. She swallows the sun at night. It travels through her body, and she gives birth to it in the morning. That is how powerful this is. That is how powerful this is. There's so many different things I could say about this. I could talk about Newt for another half hour. We don't have another half hour. Just take a few things about Newt you should know. First of all, when I was a young student, I remember Dr. Ben used to say some embarrassing stuff. At least we thought it was embarrassing because we weren't connected to African traditions quite yet. I remember being at a dinner, dressed up in my African clothing, sitting there eating a nice meal, and he's the keynote, and he says, the African knows that the world is so powerful, that the black woman is so powerful, that she actually is the symbol of heaven between her legs. And you could hear each of us silent. You hear like a fork drop. Plank. Yes! The black woman's vagina is heaven. Now listen, I had already doing the little work, so I knew what he was referring to. Most of the people in the room did not. So I remember going to him afterwards and saying, Dr. Ben, you know you're talking about Newt. Why is it that you always say it that way? And he said, I love to see y'all Negroes sweat. he was so provocative that way. So provocative. He was referring to Newt. So that she gives birth to the sun. Can you see that this is in the African traditions? Where in the world, in the Western traditions, would you see a divine woman, a goddess, and you see an image of her vagina? In the Western world, that's nasty, that's dirty, that's secret. But in the African world, we don't have the hang-ups with our body. We don't have the hang-ups with the actual reproductive processes that our divine women actually live into every day. We don't have that problem. In addition to this, we have been, another reason why we know that this is African, by the way, is that the sun, which is perhaps the most powerful image of the divine in our world, is usually depicted as masculine. But even the sun, S-U-N, has a mother. N-U-T. And that mother means that the sun, S-U-N, is a son, S-O-N. That's what that means. That is how powerful divine femininity is. That even the sun has a mother. You can't go around talking about your women as B-O's if you view the world this way. You can't. So many of the challenges with our relationships with each other are because we have been hoodwinked. Because we think that we trying to be those people who know nothing. Those people who are trying to emulate, to imitate your story, are now the people who are in control of the world. The third thing I'm going to tell you about Newt, which is interesting, is that as you see her giving birth, if you there, you're going to see that the sun coming out of her vagina, the sun coming out of her hennenet, yes, that's one of the ancient African Kemetic words for the vagina, is actually received by the Khepera. Remember we told you the Khepera is the new sun? So as she gives birth to the sun, it is the Khepera. Renewal, transformation. I want to ask you, how many of you need transformation and rebirth and renewal in your life? If you need it, mash that 7 on your keyboard. If you need rebirth, transformation, and renewal. If there is something that you want, if there's something that you need, if there's something that seems to elude you, if there's a behavior that you know is holding you back, if you have not been able to be the person that the ancestors have deemed you must be, mash that on the keyboard so you can begin to connect yourself to your sacred, everlasting, divine renewal so that you may come out of the vagina of the mother newt as Khepera, as Khepera. Mash that 7 on your keyboard. Take a look at that. Here's a close-up of another one, actually. These, by the way, you should know that these are often on the ceilings of tombs in ancient Kemet. You will often see newt on the ceiling of the tomb or even on the inner lid of a coffin. That's what you'll see. This is a powerful, powerful image. A powerful, powerful image. And you're seeing the vagina there. Are you not? By the way, you know one of the details I always like to notice? If you look towards the vagina, do you notice that they depict these little lines next to her vagina, like her stomach is sagging a little bit? Isn't that something that women today think is disturbing or at least not attractive, and men may have issues with? But in here they are telling you that this woman is a fertile mother. She has given birth before. So you even seeing that the goddess Nut, you're seeing that the divine woman that is the image of the heavens has stretch marks. Stop confusing yourself that you must look like a girl at the age of 14. If you're a woman, be a woman. You hear what I'm saying? Africans didn't think that that was disturbing or ugly. Be a woman. Don't you see that even the Lady of the Heavens has stretch marks? You'll see that the Neteru, sometimes if they're female, are depicted with sagging breasts because they have actually suckled humanity. Our African ancestors thought that the position, the look of the woman was beautiful because it meant thing. It meant that she was absolutely creating all of us, both literally and symbolically. This ain't European stuff. We're not uncomfortable with the woman, uncomfortable with her body, uncomfortable with her reproductive aspects. This is African. We're seeing Khepera come out of her vagina. Khepera here is the beginning. And I don't know if I'm going to play this. Maybe I'll play it for just a few seconds. It's this beautiful sacred thing in our tradition. I want you to understand that because the European is very young, they look at things that are meant to be powerfully, sacredly divine, and they end up doing things that are absolutely spooky. I'm going to use the word spooky when they look at our African traditions. And you're going to see the Khepera depicted in the movie The Mummy. I'm talking about the remake. I think it was 1999 is when that movie came out. Yes, I know. I should not know what year it came out off the top of my head. But I'm pretty sure that it was 1999. And it actually featured Brendan Fraser. And it had this Arabic guy that was a soldier, Oded Fair, who was now on Star Trek, on Star Trek Discovery as the Admiral. Okay, yes, I watch a little too much TV and movies. I know. But take a look at the way that they depict the Khepera. So you're seeing the image of quote-unquote Imhotep and Sahufied against his will because he was evil and they were trying to destroy him. And as they put him in, this guy in the Anpu mask pours all these Khepera on him to devour him. Isn't that terrible? Isn't that horrific? Look at how they depict the Khepera. Not as a divine transformation, not as a symbol that we must all attempt to aspire to, But instead, don't play it for very long. Let's see if it will stay up. Instead, what you will see is that what they are doing is they are fetishizing your ancient African principles while borrowing from them themselves. Take a look at this car, by the way. By the way, I wish I had this car. I think it's dope. But anyway, this is a 1930s car known as the Stout Scarab. Because keep in mind, when the Greeks came to Kemet, they started calling the Khepera the Scarab. And so you're actually seeing this vehicle known as the Stout Scarab. And you can see that it has Khepera, or Khepera with wings, on its front. Take a look at this vehicle from the 1930s, almost 100 years old. Did you know that the symbol of the Khepera was so long held that when the Christians came forward and were trying to replicate your ancient African, any credit African, they actually used to call Jesus very often the Scarab. Look at what St. Ambrose, who was one of the early Christian fathers, says. He is the Archbishop of Milan, yes, that Milan in Italy. He says, he calls Jesus the Good Scarab. And St. Epiphanius actually says he is the Scarabaeus of God. They call him the self-created. The self-created. That is a reference to the Khepera. I want you to understand that this is how they are telling you that Jesus, or Yeshua, is actually nothing more than an echo of your tradition. And now what they've tried to do is speak ill of your ancient African tradition, destroy your African tradition, so that they can be the source. If you didn't know, why does he have the sun behind his head if he's not the Khepera? Could you explain that to me? But Jabari, I was told that was a halo. It's the sun, darn it! Can't you tell that's the sun? That he is actually a sun deity? It's the reason why he dies and is in the tomb for 3 days and then rises again. This is astrotheology, not theology in and of itself. It is the story of what we must do, how we must live, as told by the movements of the stars and the sun in the heavens. Jesus was known as the Good Scarab. Jesus was known as the Scarab. I want you to know that. So they have borrowed heavily, and then they don't want you to know anything about it. So let's talk about the Khepera for a moment. Take a look at this beetle. Now let's take a step back and say something. This beetle, a few years ago, this is one of the years that I went without Anika. I was with Yasir Rahotep. I should mention now that Anika, Yasir Rahotep, and myself are leading a tour next year. Yes, we know that it will be safe. We've done our research. If you want to come to Kemet with us, you're going to have an incredibly unique experience. You should go. Take a look at our website at shrineofmount.org or centerformanat.com. Anyway, let's continue. When you look at this, you will see that the beetle is an animal, is an insect that spends all of its day in filth. All of its day in doo-doo. Anika was going to say that. In doo-doo. Why do I like to say doo-doo so much? Because it makes you uncomfortable. I guess this is the Dr. Ben in me. But I say it because it makes you uncomfortable, because you need to be uncomfortable with your doo-doo. What we often do is we pretend it's not there, even though it is stinking to high heaven. We act like it's not there. When you open your mouth, we smell the doo-doo. When you walk in the room, we smell the doo-doo. When you're doing your work and you're doing it half-assed, we smell the doo-doo. Take care of your doo-doo. That's one of the reasons why this symbol of this insect is sacred. It spends all its day burying its eggs in a ball of dung, and it rolls the dung in a very symmetrical, a very, very round ball, and then it moves it in the line with the sun, continues to take care of this ball of doo-doo until the eggs hatch. This is the symbol of the Khepera. Not the symbol, this is the animal, the insect that is the Khepera. Take a look at it here. That's a beautiful picture, by the way.
We were briefly blocked.
Blocked by that, playing that? rest of the time, or you had to go back on? Oh, I just shouldn't have even know that. Anyway, take a look at this symbol, this ball of dung, and know that it has to be important for us to think of an insect that spends its time in filth as a sacred symbol. I want you to look at what it does. Take a look at this video. You're going to see, it's going to take a moment to begin, but you're going to see this Khepera, this scarab as they like to call it, rolling the ball of dung. What do you notice about it? First of all, look at how symmetrical, how spherical that ball is. Did you see that? Which way does it roll it? Did you notice the manner in which it rolls it? Did you notice it moves around and then it rolls it how? By the way, any insect that can roll dung like that is amazing. I mean, it creates this ball that is very spherical. And then it rolls it how? Which way does it face? Why is it? Did you notice that it actually rolls backward? Its head is pointing opposite the direction in which it rolls. And I also want you to recognize that while this is doo-doo, it absolutely contains the thing that is most important to this insect. Its eggs, its future, its prosperity, its the doo-doo. This is, I want you to pull this all together now and understand this is a sacred thing. Look at one of the things that we know now. This is from a study that came out in 2013. We actually realized that the beetles use the stars of the Milky Way to decide which direction to move in. Can you imagine that? They're not just rolling willy-nilly. They are literally using the stars to circumnavigate. What? That's a study that comes out of Current Biology that came out in 2013. This is absolutely amazing. 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 But let's recognize what's happening here. So, the Khepera beetle puts in the dung. It rolls it, it makes it very spherical, and it rolls it in the path of the sun, using also the Milky Way to orient itself. And it also looking backward in order to go forward. Let's put it all together. First of all, this is a wonderful ancient image of the Sankofa. That you must go back and fetch it. That you must look behind you in order to go forward. And if his future is in a ball of doo-doo, think about your greatest transformation, your greatest elevation, your greatest progress will be done when you deal with your doo-doo. In fact, your transformation is in your doo-doo, in those things that are holding you back. That it is absolutely a pep that you must battle with in order to be the Khepera. That's how this works. When you look at the ancient Kemetic Book of Gates, you'll actually see that the Book of Gates is all about the Battle of Apep and about the victory of Khepera. One of the things in chapter 3 says, these are they upon earth who uttered words of power against Apep, who made their offerings unto him, who into their netted roof on their own behalf after their offerings. They have gained possessions of their cool waters, and they receive meat. They eat their offerings. Whose name is hidden. Whose name is hidden. Your soul shall never be hacked to pieces. Shall never fail. O ye who have praised me and have vanquished Apep. So pep. And then in the final hour before being born, we absolutely see something very interesting. We see the mention of this battle against the pep being ended in the victory of the Khepera. So powerful to me. It says, and this is in the 12th hour of night, it says, the secret circle of what? This great when he makes his appearance in Nu and take up his place in the body of Newt. Whoever shall make a copy of these representations according to the which are depicted on the east wall of the palace of Ament of the Tuat, they will be the magical protectors to him that heaven and they are referring to the Khepera. In fact, it even says earlier, this great Nter is born under the form of Khepera in this circle. So understand that when you battle a pep, this is when you actually will bring forth Khepera. It is when you look at your behind in order to go forward. I want you to also understand that this even means that you shouldn't actually be controlled by your past. Use your past to guide your future. Deal with it. Don't just pretend that that stuff isn't there when it's thinking to high heaven. Your greatest transformation is in your challenges. Your greatest transformation is in the stuff that's preventing you from moving forward. In the muck and the mire, in the filth. And so we must ask ourselves, when we deal with the doo-doo, how do we become Khepera? Here's some suggestions. I want you to give as we come to a close. I want to give you a good some steps for how you can actually move forward and be better. Here's 7 quick steps, and because of the time, I'm going to go through this very quickly. 1, dream big. Dream big. Set goals which will inspire you. If you only set small goals, maybe that's why you're not accomplishing them, because they have not inspired you. They have not challenged you to deal with yourself. And that's the reason why you live in small, being stopped, being held back, being set aside, because you haven't inspired yourself to be the one. Dream big and inspire yourself. Number 2, create small steps that get that goal accomplished. The next thing you should do is break them down into small, measurable, achievable steps. Small, measurable, achievable steps. Number 3, understand the past but don't be chained by it. If you are trying to be the new you without focusing on what has kept you in being the old you, then you won't ever become the new you. Deal with your doo-doo. Face your doo-doo. Understand that in your filth is your transformation. You must contend with it, beloved. That is why the Khepera is a sacred symbol. You must contend with it. This is of critical importance. Number 4, make a promise to yourself. Write it down. Make a video. Speak to yourself. Write it down. Don't just be vague about what you want to do. Write down what you're trying to do. Plan it out. Make a plan and work the plan. Write it down, and in 2021, you can actually record yourself describing what you want to do, so you can listen to it. See yourself. Look in your own eyes and say, this is what the ancestors expect. The next know that I can be. Inspire yourself. Create goals. Don't be chained by your past, and make a promise to yourself. Number 5, celebrate the small victories and learn from the setbacks if they occur. Sometimes when we have setbacks, we just throw the whole thing away because we've either embarrassed ourselves or we've harmed ourselves. You are the one that restores balance. Let setbacks keep you aside. continue to move forward. And as you continue to move forward, please celebrate the small victories. Celebrate the small victories. Look at your video or look at what you wrote and say, yeah, I did it. If you don't celebrate the small victories, you won't have fuel by which you're able to move forward. When you look back into the past, you're not going to just see failures. This is why the Khepera, the symbol of the Sankofa, you know the Sankofa bird in the Khan Adinkra symbol, is the bird that turns its head backwards for the egg. Well, you do know that the Khepera was also, when they move the sun, sometimes they call it egg. The Khepera is the more ancient Sankofa symbol. Our traditions moved from the east, the northeast, and went to the west. It's that simple. And we described it differently because we saw different insects, different animals, a different ecology. But it is the same practice. It is the same practice. So, celebrate the small victories and learn from the setbacks. Number 6, share your goals with the right people. Why do I have right people in capitalization here? Because there's some people who are living small. There's some people who don't do a thing. There's some people who think that failure is normal. They don't want to live big, so when you live in big, they want you to fail because your failure excuses their mediocrity. Those are not the people to tell your goals to. Because all they're going to do when you leave the room is say, who she thinks she is? Your failure helps them sit, and that will help you move forward. Tell the right people about your goals. And finally, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is important. Sometimes we think that if we don't accomplish everything, we are a failure. About how far you've come. Maybe you need to lose weight. You need to lose 50 pounds. And oh my goodness, I only lost 30. What? I said I was going to get to work on time and I only got to work on time 2 days this week. Yeah, but you was late every day last week. Celebrate the small victories. And please don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If we do that, it puts us in the wrong energetic state to move forward. It is important for you to allow yourself to recalibrate. Guilt is a very destructive feeling. It prevents us from doing the things we need to do. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. These are 7 steps on how you can move the sun across the sky after being birthed by your divine mother, the Lady of the Heavens. You can do this. We need you to. Your community, your family, your friends, the ancestors need you to be the person that you were meant to be. You ain't just here to take up space and waste oxygen. What are you supposed to be about? What is it that you're supposed to bring into the world in excellence? What does it mean that you do the opening of the way and recognize that you're a divine being? What kind of divine being just sits on the stoop and eats Snicker bars all day long? What kind of divine being is that? What kind of divine being that just sits on the couch looking at TikTok or Facebook all day long? Use those things as tools that will help you move forward. Don't use them just to waste your time. You have to make sure that you are doing your work. Khepera, Aten-Ra, Amen-Ra. We know you more. We know that you can be the person, the individual, the member of the family that we need you to be. We just need you to remember that which you have always known. Ankin Ma'at, Shemamatep, thank you so much for you. I truly hope that this will inspire you to be who you're supposed to be. Anika. conclude with our final affirmation.
Ooh, thank you to everyone who was here for our broadcast today. I know we had some challenges online, but also feel free to come back and rewatch the video. It will be it's already posted on YouTube, it's posted on Facebook, you can watch it over again. Thank you again to all of you who gave us stars and helped us with donations. Thank you to those who made Cash App and PayPal contributions. We really appreciate all that you have done. We also want to remind you that we are still taking initiation applications, so if you are interested an initiate of the Shrine of Ma'at, please go to our website, www.shrineofma'at.org, and you can download the application and email the application back to us at ma'at@shrine. Please go ahead and fill out your applications. Don't send any money in yet. We would like to interview you first and make sure that this is the proper fit and that you're truly ready for initiation. So go ahead and visit our website. For those of you who would like to travel with us and learn all this great information and actually be in tune with the Enteru on the continent and actually do our opening of the way and our prayers and our Hesi and everything right there in front of the Merkuti, the pyramids, and to be able to see the Haramakhet, the Sphinx, for those of you who are just learning the language. Come with us to Kemet, to Egypt, August 1st to August 12th. 2021, and yes, we are being safe, we are being careful, we have done our research, we are in touch with the ground crew in Egypt, in Kemet, we have contacted others who have traveled there, and we do have all of things in place to make sure that you are safe if you are traveling with us. So please go visit our website at www.shrineofma'at.org, or you can go to our other website, www.centerforma'at.com, and go ahead and make your deposits as soon as possible. Seats are filling up. We want to make sure that you get the same price, that you're able to get your tickets as early as possible. So please go to the website and make your down payment to hold your seat if you would like to travel with us to Kemet this year.
By the way, if you're not traveling from the United States, you probably would have to pay for your own airfare, but you can meet us there and then you just pay for your ground package. So we can talk to you about that as well. We're getting that question from folks that are not in the United States. You can travel with us, but you will probably have to buy your own ticket. Talk to us about it so we can synchronize so that you're able to do that.
Yes.
And if you are in the United States, you should know that the whole package, what we're offering is everything. Okay, so don't go and buy your tickets and say, I'm in Detroit, I got my ticket. That's what we're asking you to do.
We are leaving from New York, JFK.
Yes.
So if you're leaving from somewhere else,
Detroit doesn't go straight to Cairo.
Yeah,
so you'd have to come to New York. So what you would have to do is meet us here, and we leave from John F. Kennedy Airport in New York.
Okay, so make sure if you have any questions, please go to our website, send us an email, and let us know what your questions are. We are answering your questions. Again, you can email us directly at ma'at@centerforma'at.com or ma'at@shrineofma'at.org. Either way, we will be responding to your questions. So at this time, I'd like to say Twa'u, thank you, and to offer you our closing prayer, which is the Amasu. So I ask that you stand in your pose of adoration with your left foot forward and your right foot back, left hand forward and right hand back, and repeat after me in the words of our ancestors, and then we will repeat it in English. Amasu in Pa'anter.
Amasu in Pa'anter.
Sauksu.
Sauksu.
Ementra.
Ementra.
En Pa'anter.
En Pa'anter.
Autu.
Autu.
Aura.
Aura.
Maketipa.
Maketipa.
Herura.
Herura.
Give yourself to the One Most High.
Give yourself to the One Most High.
Keep yourself daily for the divine.
Keep yourself daily for the divine.
And do it tomorrow.
And do it tomorrow.
Just as you did it today.
Just as you did it today.
Twa'u and Ter.
Twa'u and Ter.
Thank you to the divine, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Shalom Matap.
Shalom Matap. We look forward to seeing you soon. Peace.